Halo Infinite will kick off its competitive circuit Friday with the Halo Championship Series Kickoff Major. It's the first major in the all-new Halo circuit, and the Optic are the favorites to win at plus 220, Sentinels at plus 280, Cloud9 at plus 425, and E-United at plus 700.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And with that, we say welcome into another brand new live edition of Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. We're going to hold serve until 9 a.m. this morning. We got a lot of good stuff on the table to get through this morning. Could Tank Bigsby be staying at Auburn? Our good friend Jake Crane put something out on Twitter yesterday. Interesting. His words, not ours. His words, not ours. We will let you know what those words are. South Carolina's Shane Beamer, it's the Christmas season. He decided to go Christmas shopping yesterday in the transfer portal and cashed in. Brought some new players back to South Carolina yesterday. Quarterback, tight end, all with experience, all big names. But will they be big-time players when it's all said and done for the Gamecocks? Texas A&M loses a quarterback to the transfer portal. So how many quarterbacks have entered the transfer portal? The number is mind-blowing, especially Power 5 quarterbacks. These aren't just group of 5 quarterbacks hoping to move up. These are Power 5 quarterbacks. How many are in the transfer portal right now? The transfer portal is crowded with quarterbacks. We'll just say that. And if there is, not if, we'll go over some of the names in the transfer portal. Now, some have already found homes. But if you are a college football coach and the transfer portal is the way you need to go to fill your quarterback position, is there a quarterback among these names that we are going to go over that you would take a chance on with your program? Maybe Brian Harsin is looking at this list thinking maybe there's a quarterback in here that he needs to get. Maybe other schools in the SEC, maybe a Florida, maybe Billy Napier's looking at this thinking he needs to get a quarterback. Maybe. We'll go over some of the names. Dan Lanning is headed to Georgia. We did not get to spend a lot of time talking about Dan Lanning leaving Georgia, heading to Oregon to become their head coach. What does that mean for the Bulldogs defense? Well, Will Muschamp has a new title as the Bulldogs are going with co-defensive coordinators this year. We'll break all of that down. Plus, we're going to give you a chance to go see the Huntsville Havoc play. We have got tickets to Saturday's game. We have got tickets to Friday's game. So we are going to give you a chance to go see the Huntsville Havoc play. In fact, I tell you what, right out of the gates, let's do this. We have got 2 pairs of tickets to go see. I believe each pair is worth 2 tickets, Chad, is that right? Okay, I've got 2 vouchers here, good for 4 tickets. 2 vouchers for 4 tickets. If you want to go see the Havoc play tonight, just give us a call. 256-576-4977. No questions. Know that Chad is just going to pick up the phone and give you these tickets. There are 2 vouchers for 4 tickets to go see the Huntsville Havoc play on Friday at 7 o'clock. Now, throughout the show, we'll give you more chances to go see them play on Friday and more chances to go on Saturday. So if you don't get in now, no, don't worry. You can have more chances as the day goes along. But we want you to go see the Huntsville Havoc play, and we want you to go see them on us. So there is your chance to go see the Havoc play on Friday. Chad will get you all the information. If you head to our Twitter page at 977ESPN, I know we talked about the Heisman yesterday. I know we broke it all down. Alabama has 4 Heisman winners. Bryce Young becomes the first Alabama quarterback. But what we didn't really do, and I wanted to put this question out there yesterday, but we got behind in the show. We got a little we just had a lot of stuff going on, so we did not get to put this question out there yesterday on Twitter. So of the 4 Heisman Trophy winners for Alabama, and you can also call in on the show, 256-576-4977. Of these 4 Heisman Trophy winners, Mark Ingram, Derrick Henry, Mac Jones, Bryce Young, which one had the best Heisman resume? Not best career at Alabama, because every one of them was different. Mark Ingram's career was different. Derrick Henry's career was different. Mac Jones was different. So far, Bryce Young's is different. So it's not career. It's not all 4 years at Alabama. It's which one do you think had the best Heisman resume? Okay? So Mac Jones, Bryce Young, Derrick Henry, Mark Ingram. Which one had the best Heisman resume? You can head to our Twitter page at 977ESPN, and you can vote there, or you can join the conversation this morning, 256-576-4977. And we've got the winners for the first set of Havoc tickets. Make sure you stay listening throughout the show. We're going to have more chances for you to win. Not right now, but we're going to have more chances for you to win coming up here in just a little bit. All right, so we mentioned Tank Bigsby. Jake Crane, who is the host of the J-Boy Show, and he's been on our show several times. Does his show out of the College Football Hall of Fame. We said yesterday, and I said yesterday, that I thought by mid-afternoon yesterday that Tank Bigsby's name would be in the transfer portal. And his name did not appear in the transfer portal yesterday. It didn't appear. So Jake Crane yesterday goes on Twitter and says that Auburn has talked Tank Bigsby into staying and that Tank Bigsby is not going into the transfer portal. He said, mark my words, Auburn has talked Tank Bigsby into staying. He is not going in the transfer portal. That is from Jake Crane, our good friend of the host of the J-Boy Show. So I stand corrected. I thought maybe his name would enter, we would see it officially yesterday, but we didn't. So now Jake Crane says Auburn has talked him into it. Staying. I don't know.
Well, really, I got to give a shout-out to one of our guests, too, that's going to join us in the second hour. It'll be the first time he's joined us since he re-entered the business, let's say. When I first got here to 97.7 The Zone, he was a member of Auburn Undercover. He covered Auburn for, several years, over a decade plus. Now he is part of Auburn Live on 3, which is the on3.com, the new network being created by Shannon Terry. That's Justin Hokanson. He had been the first to report the night before, and we kind of talked about that he was hearing from reports that Tank Bigsby was going into the portal. And reading his work yesterday, and we're going to pick his brain later, he was definitely headed that way. I don't think, as we saw, Bo Nix, when we were talking about Bo yesterday, was not officially in the portal until we got off the air. Now he is officially in the transfer portal. It looked like Tank was going to follow, in short order. But Auburn's coaching staff, Brian Harsin, I'm sure Cadillac Williams, they all, met with Tank to give him their vision. It looks like, now we only saying looks like, Scott, it had nothing official yet, that Austin Davis, former Southern Mississippi quarterback, he is the quarterback's coach right now with Pete Carroll's Seattle Seahawks, is the favorite to be the offensive coordinator. Right. So they met with Tank, they told him their vision, and then Tank Bigsby never ended up officially going into the portal. And, of course, Jake Crane and Justin Hoganson, both they work in tandem a lot. reported that Tank Bigsby was going to stay at Auburn, and it's huge for the Tigers because, again, we talked about it. Sean Shivers is already gone. You've got Jarquez Hunter left, but now you'll have Tank not just for next season, because at the time he was not even taking part in voluntary workouts before the bowl game. Now he'll play in the bowl game, the Birmingham Bowl, and then going forward, you've got a huge piece of the puzzle to your offense. And so you've already lost your starting quarterback, and then we'll pick Justin Hoganson's brain on that. But just a very interesting set of circumstances. And again, we've seen this happen before. We've seen guys for Alabama. He's a role player, but King Makuta did this last year. He officially went into the portal. He announced he was going, but he never visited anywhere else. He kept working out. He kept practicing at Alabama, and then he never officially even withdrew. And then he just showed up at practice.
Right.
So this can happen just because you enter the portal. Now, it's rare. If you enter it, usually you're gone.
Right. Yes. But
again,
you always have that ability to come back.
Yeah, you do. And Auburn did this is the college football today, okay? You have to re-recruit your own roster year to year.
That's
sometimes.
Crazy to believe
It is crazy. It's hard to believe, but that's what Auburn did, and that was probably the biggest headline in the state yesterday was that Tank Bigsby did not go in the portal like we expected, and where he would have been extremely sought after. Even though he didn't have the year everybody anticipated, I think everybody understands how talented Tank is. But now I guess he's been reassured about the offensive line, the skill guys, and we'll see where Auburn goes quarterback-wise, because what I'm hearing is they're probably going to be aggressive in the portal, and that piggybacks off something you started the show with. I mean, it is free agency at the quarterback position in college football right now.
This is bananas.
It's nuts.
This is bananas because right now, okay, there have been 18 quarterbacks have entered. 18.
And these are Division I quarterbacks.
Power 5
quarterbacks.
Not just your bottom line quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
These are Power 5. Now some of them have already found a new home. Some of them found a new home yesterday.
Which was major for them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Miles Brennan at LSU is in the transfer portal.
He is.
Here's the one yesterday the new name that's in the transfer portal. He beat Alabama earlier this year. Zach Calzada from Texas A&M in the transfer portal.
Well, and the thing is, this happened like right after our show, basically, and I think this is what has happened. Obviously, Calzada and Jimbo Fisher, the 4-loss coach that makes more than Nick Saban, they must have met. And Haynes King, as you know, Scott, is recovering from that leg injury. And I would assume that Jimbo Fisher was transparent with Zach Calzada, in other words, Steven Garcia's long-lost cousin, and just said, okay, you're going to be the backup. I think Haynes King is still my starting quarterback. Or either he said, y'all are going to have to compete. In other words, he didn't guarantee Calzada the starting spot. And so Calzada, regardless of circumstance, decided to transfer. And I guess out of that meeting, regardless of how it was handled, he got the gist that Haynes King was going to be the starting quarterback going forward for the Texas A&M Aggies. And it's what I told you, Scott. It's the quarterback position more than any other is one. You have one guy.
And one ball.
And so a lot of these cats are going to take their ball and go home. Zach Calzada did that. I hope his parents recorded the Alabama game. I hope they keep it for prosperity. It's really the only great game he played all year. Maybe the only great game of his career going forward. We'll have to see. But certainly, hopefully he finds a spot to land and he turns into a really good player. He definitely showed against Alabama he has the ability. Now, after
Steven
that,
Garcia showed he had the ability.
Yeah, he looked like just a dude the rest of the year. I mean, just an ordinary guy. But against Alabama, he channeled his inner Brett Favre or Johnny Manziel or whatever the hell you want to say, and beat Alabama.
All right, so Zach Calzada's in there. Shavon Cordero from Hawaii.
Yeah.
Tommy DeVito from Syracuse. Quinn Ewers from Ohio State, who's already at Texas. Yep.
Mm-hmm, yep.
Dylan Gabriel from UCF is in the transfer portal.
And that is so interesting because of the phone call we got on the show yesterday.
About Bo Nix possibly going back to UCF to reunite with Gus Malzahn.
And then hire the whole family.
Lane Hatcher from Arkansas State is in the transfer
That's
portal.
a former Alabama quarterback, a backup, yeah.
Who obviously didn't like Butch Jones' system, because remember, Butch Jones is there at Arkansas State. Max Johnson from LSU is in the portal.
Mm-hmm.
Adrian Martinez from Nebraska, portal. Jack Miller, Ohio State, portal. Bo Nix, Michael Penix from Indiana is in the transfer portal. This dude from Clemson, Tyson, I don't even know how you would say the last name. Phommachanh. Is in the transfer portal. Jake Plummer, not that Jake Plummer.
Is that his son?
I don't know. He's at Purdue. He's in the transfer portal. Taquan Robertson from Penn State is in the transfer portal. Jordan Yates from Georgia Tech, transfer portal. Keaton Slovis from USC in the transfer portal.
That's nearly 8,000 yards passing right there.
And then the other one who has a new home, $1 million in name, image, and likeness. Oh, his old friend, Shane Beamer, his old coach from Oklahoma, went shopping in the transfer portal yesterday and went shopping big. Spencer Rattler.
Yeah.
Headed to South Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, that's I have to admit, now, when you had to sit there and think about it for a second after he did it, and then you remember, that's where the relationship was.
Yep. Because
Shane Beamer was at Oklahoma as an assistant coach, and so he knew Spencer Rattler. But it was still, when you first hear it, you're still like, okay, this is fake. Because you're sitting here wondering, I thought he was going to Texas. Of course, when we know Quinn Ewers did. But you're hearing all these destinations.
Maybe out to USC.
Yeah. Yeah, but, you just didn't think about 6-6 South Carolina. You're thinking this kid's going somewhere – where they
a contender.
Yeah.
Because
let's not forget, Scott, this dude was on the front of all the magazines and the websites and was the front runner for the Heisman Trophy. And there were crackheads out there that picked the Oklahoma Sooners who couldn't tackle me to win the national championship.
He was the next Trevor Lawrence of the media darlings.
Yeah.
Everybody loved Trevor Lawrence. They fell in love with him. Trevor Lawrence, he had a great college career. But Spencer Rattler, they put him on that platform like they did Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, he was one of the top 1 or 2 quarterbacks coming out as Arizona. Matter of fact, my first thought was he might go home. Now Arizona State has a quarterback and a lot of problems.
Arizona State has a lot,
of Herm Edwards. But you're thinking Jed Fish, he's an offensive guy. Maybe he goes home to Arizona to Tucson and tries to play over there. But he ends up at South Carolina, South Kakalaki, and then he brings Stogner, the tight end from Oklahoma, with him. So obviously that was a package deal situation. And heck, I don't blame South Carolina. They need players.
He packed up the Gamecock truckster and just backed it up and hauled in.
And look, man, I'm just being bluntly honest here because they both were 6-6, and somehow South Carolina beat them at home and has beat them the last 2 years. But think about this. With Spencer Rattler and Stogner, the tight end, if they can get a couple more impact guys out of the portal and finish recruiting strong, South Carolina might have a better team on paper than Auburn because Auburn doesn't even know their quarterback's going to be.
Well, South Carolina, by adding Rattler and Stogner, and this is just crazy now that you actually have to do this, they have the 5th best transfer portal class.
Oh, my Lord. Hey, you know what? I'm going to ask John Garcia that at 8 o'clock because these recruiting gurus, I follow recruiting relentlessly, and I used to have to report on it all the time. You almost now have to have a separate category.
Yep.
You have to have
transfer class,
early signing day.
Yep.
And then you got to have the February, the second signing period. And then a third one, your portal class. I'm serious.
I know you're right.
I mean, because there's so many. Well, I mean, trust me, I get blown up, Scott, all the time because Alabama's trying to finish their early signing class, and as we know, 80 to 90% of the top players are now signing early.
Yes.
People are panicking, saying, "Well, what if they miss on this guy, or what if they don't get a second corner? Or, oh my Lord, this may all fall apart."
You still have February.
And I'm like, well, there's still February, but I'm like, remember, there's the portal. If Alabama does not hit on a position, say they don't don't get 2 corners and they only take 1, you still got the transfer portal.
When did they
where you
get
can get a
Jameson
good player.
Williams last year? When did they get him?
After signing day.
Okay.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
That's
That's what I'm talking about. So you just have to, and then Toa as well. Remember, that was all drawn out.
No, that was.
So that's what I'm saying. You got to understand the portal's out there, and you can fill needs in the portal.
So the question that I was asking is, of those names that we went over, is there anybody? And I'm not saying I'm putting myself, I guess, maybe in Brian Harson's shoes because he has T.J. Finley, but other than that, they've got a couple guys with inexperience. If you wanted to fill a gap for a year with a quarterback that has experience, is there a quarterback on that list? If you are a college coach that you would go after right now?
Yes. If I'm Brian Harsin,
yes,
I am blowing up Keaton Slovis. Blowing him up because the guy's got nearly 8,000 yards, even if he played in the land of the fruits and nuts. He started, nearly 3 years for Southern California.
The other USC.
The other USC. And he beat out the most overrated quarterback in the history of football, and that is JT Daniels, because I've never seen a guy get more hyped and do nothing. But I'm just saying, remember, he beat him out, okay? True. Fair and square. So if I'm Auburn and I need a dude, and I'm not sure that Finley's the guy, I'm going and getting Keaton Slovis. He can play in the spread. He can play in a pro-style attack. We don't know kind of what Auburn's style of offense is going to be, but it's probably going to have spread principles. And I'm sorry, but if I am, Brian Harsin, I'm going after Keaton Slovis. I don't know if they have a relationship there, like on their staff with somebody, because a lot of his guys were on the West Coast.
Right.
But if I'm trying to find a guy to come in like South Carolina just did, because let's understand something. Even though Rattler didn't play great this year at times, he has a ton of experience. And he's
a 5-star
just
quarterback.
A huge upgrade over what they got.
Right.
So if I'm Auburn, I'm trying to get Keaton Slovis.
All right, let's go to Shane from Decatur real fast. Good morning, Shane.
Hey, good morning, Drew and Scott. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you? So are you happy with your South Kakalaki?
Man, yeah, I'm happy because now we have a quarterback that's capable of getting a receiving core of the ball because we have a decent receiving core. I mean, with Van, obviously he's the standout receiver, but I mean, as far as the receiving core goes, we're pretty solid. We didn't have a quarterback that could get them the ball. But I just wanted to ask you guys, Drew, you particularly, what do you think this does for us? I mean, I know it's not going to put us, over the top and immediately make us compete, but do you think that moves us up a couple spots in the East?
Potentially, because we don't know how good Missouri is going to be. We thought they'd be good this year, and they were horrific. But they're having a great recruiting year, though. I mean, they're in the top 10 in the country when you talk about right now what Drinkwitz is doing.
Well,
so
it moves them ahead of Vanderbilt. It moves them ahead, I think, of Missouri. It moves them closer, I think, to Tennessee.
Well, here's what here's what it does. If you finish the rest of the high school / JUCO class, because we're gonna have to start calling it that, and then you continue to add some pieces to your portal class. I can't believe we're gonna have to start calling it portal class. But anyway, if you do that, I thought South Carolina's defense was respectable. Okay, so if you got several pieces of those guys coming back, here's what I think. I think it sets it up where you can realistically, if you're a South Carolina fan, think you can win 8 and go to a Florida bowl game. I really do.
6 this year.
Yeah, they went 6-6. I think it sets it up. If you can keep him healthy, if your offensive line can play well, that South Carolina could go 8-4.
Does this put them even par with Tennessee and Kentucky?
Well, I mean, closer. Now, because Kentucky is not consistent. They're much better than they used to be.
Right.
But as we talked about, this will be their second 10-win season in the last 4. But at the same time, they had a losing record during the COVID year, even though they won a bowl game. So I do think it puts Kentucky, Missouri, South Carolina in those kind of, in a bubble where you could say, the East is going to be better, and they could win 8 games. Because I will say this, right now, they look better than Florida. What has Florida got? They looked awful, okay? And they don't even know their quarterback's going to be. Now, Billy Napier's going to recruit well, but for as far as year 1, there's a transition there. So to me, it puts you in a bubble where you're wide open and you're trying to finish second behind the Georgia Steel Curtain, who's going to have the best roster anyway, and 5 5-star quarterbacks, even though we don't know how Kirby Freeze is going to screw it up. But again, Georgia will still be the favorite because they're going to have the most talent.
Absolutely. Well, my last question is, and I haven't had a chance to look this up, where do we stand right now as far as recruiting rankings go?
That is a great question.
15th, I think.
And again, here's what I'm going to say. Shane Beamer, his strength as a coach is a recruiter. So I've always felt like he would get good players. But I think right now it's in a solid spot, and that's why I was saying I think that when you look at it, that South Carolina's got a chance to make a jump in the recruiting rankings or as a team in his second year, because I think
16th, according to 24/7,
16th right now at this very moment, Shane. They have 20 commits and they are ranked 16th in the country, so they could even go up. And that doesn't even count the portal class. So, eventually they're going to have to start, like Scott said, ranking that.
Yeah.
But as far as you got two of the more high-profile commitments on the transfer portal, and so that when you look at that and you look at South Carolina, I think they got some good running backs still on their team, Kevin Harris and those guys. I think South Carolina has got a chance in year two. Sometimes in year two you can take a step back because you lose good players that you inherited, but in this case, with the way Shane Beamer's recruiting, I think they got a chance to be better in year two.
Right, and then I think having Spencer Rattler now committed to USC, he's actually going to draw, some more talented players to our team.
Yeah, that's very possible. I mean, he's gone. That's very, very possible that he could draw some other, maybe a receiver or two or an offensive lineman. There's no doubt that this is a new world now. I mean, it's what Lane Kiffin said yesterday. He said basically, you've got free agency in college football. Well, you got to recruit your own, re-recruit your own roster, and you have to be able to manage your roster. And some of these coaches do it better than others.
All right, Shane, thanks for the call, bud.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we are up against a break. Let's get our break in when we come back. Phone lines are still open to you, and I tell you what, let's give away some more Havoc tickets right after the break.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
It looks like everything accident-wise has been moved except the one in Morgan County. 31 north of Vaughn Bridge, that one reported as an injury time, so it may be a couple of more minutes before they wrap up on it. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. Why not make it safer for them? Move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
This is Wes Neighbors with Philip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. We're still a place to call for your insulation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on two services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Philip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatedwitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
Have you ever found exactly the right new car or truck with the exact features that you want and nothing else? Well, at Woody Anderson Ford, we can promise you just that. Hey, Bobby White back again, and you can now factory order your new Ford today, and you'll get your new car or truck exactly the way you want it. And there's no extra cost to custom order. Plus, you get $1,000 off MSRP on top of any additional factory rebates. This applies to 2021 F-150, Explorer, Ranger, and Expedition. It's a win-win with a custom order at Woody Anderson Ford. You get the colors, the features, and the options that fit your life. Plus, you get notified when it's built, shipped, and ready to deliver. Listen, buying a new car or truck is likely the second largest investment you'll ever make. So why settle? Get exactly what you want with a custom factory order today and get $1,000 off MSRP. See how at WoodyAndersonFord.com or at the corner of Jordan Lane and Sparkman Drive. Hope to see you soon.
Taco Bell presents a get-out-of-bedtime story. It's time to wake up from this amazing dream, even though you're jet skiing on lemonade. How extreme! And oh, look at that, you just won the lottery. Is that a castle? Take the keys, it's your property. What's better than swimming in space? Just wait for the big reveal. It's Taco Bell breakfast and it's actually real. So it's time to wake up and bid your dreams farewell, because toasted breakfast burritos are waiting for you, only at Taco Bell. At participating Taco Bell locations near you during breakfast hours only.
Orange is the color of power, of construction, the color of Kubota, and Huntsville Tractor and Equipment. Those who need to get things done trust Kubota's mini excavators, compact track loaders, and the best keeps getting better with the all-new mini compact loader from one of the top dealers in the country. More than 50 years of family service, every part in the book, and folks who know what to do with them. You'll be seeing orange with Huntsville Tractor and Equipment.
Come on, let's go to work.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Roll Tide.
Alabama is still Alabama.
Tune in New Year's Eve.
Touchdown, Alabama!
It's the Crimson Tide and the Cincinnati Bearcats in the Cotton Bowl, live from AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, in the college football playoff semifinal. Our coverage begins at 11:30 on your home for Bama football.
Listen to Alabama football all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
From 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Let's party!
Coming up next, it's the Tom Abraham Show with me, Tom Abraham. Now back to more Talkin' Ball with Scott and Drew.
And indeed, welcome back to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And I apologize. This is all on me. I thought I'd get creative this morning and put a poll out on Twitter. And it was, which of the 4 Heisman Trophy winners from Alabama had the best resume? I did it well. I put Mark Ingram in there. I put Derrick Henry in there. I put Bryce Young in there. And I put Mac Jones. The only problem with the poll is Mac Jones didn't win the dumb thing.
Mac's appreciative of that, though, because you're calling him Heisman Trophy.
Yes, it should have been Devontae Smith, and I apologize for all of that. I put the poll up there, so that is all on me this morning. It's no longer
Thank you
there.
to our listeners.
Yeah.
Thank you to Be Rich.
Yeah.
We appreciate that.
So which one of those actually, Devontae Smith, Bryce Young, Derrick Henry, and Mark Ingram had the best, not career at Alabama, not talking 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, Heisman resume of the 4?
Okay.
Because I know you've gotten asked that question over the last...
Right now, I think I would have to say, now if Alabama wins the national championship, we may have to revisit this just simply because of the injuries that around Bryce Young and him elevating everyone else. But right now, I would have to say Derrick Henry. And the reason I say it is because when Derrick Henry became the featured back in his junior year, he had about just under 1,000 yards as a sophomore. He had never been the featured guy. He had never had 1,000 yards in a season. And then when you talk about Leonard Fournette and all the hype he had, and you remember, Scott, I mean, he came out of high school as the number 1 back. He was hyped as a Heisman candidate. You remember LSU, their offense was built around Leonard Fournette. You remember what he did to Auburn that year when he just dominated them by himself. But I'll just say this. When you look at Derrick Henry and what he did, head-to-head against Leonard Fournette, and then what he did that whole season, all the records that he broke, 395 carries. He broke Herschel Walker's, single-season rushing records in the SEC. Touchdowns. He was like made out of iron. I mean, he had such an unbelievable year.
He got stronger as the year went along.
And really, he did 2/3 of the damage in his career in one season.
Yeah.
With what he did. So to me, right now, it would be Derrick Henry and what he did and what he accomplished that year, because he was just unbelievable. And then what he's done in the NFL. I mean, at one time he was still second in the NFL and he'd missed 6 games in rushing. He's just so important to the teams that he plays on. He's such a unique player. I always go back to what Mike Golick used to say. He's like tackling a refrigerator. And, and he's just – and what William Barger, a good friend of mine, said about him one other time, because I'm just like everybody else. I saw him play in high school, Scott. You just don't see dudes that big, and you're thinking, okay, he's going to grow into a 280-pound defensive lineman or something, okay? But the more tape that William watched, he told me, he goes, Drew, we just saw Cam Newton reinvent the quarterback position in the SEC. He said, if you watch Derrick Henry and what he does – he is going to do the same thing in college football. He said, you want to know why? Because people are not going to want to tackle this guy. They're going to get tired of hitting him. And basically, and what you got to understand is Derrick just was a guy, again, that was so durable. He was a throwback. He would get stronger the more carries you gave him. He had the stiff arm where it was very difficult to tackle the guy. I mean, you had to go low to chop him down otherwise. I mean, he just was a unique – and to top it all off, you're talking about a guy that's 6'3" plus, 250 to 60 pounds, and just like Cam Newton can run a 4.5, and you don't ever catch them when they're in the open field.
True.
You just don't see a guy run that way. And so I just think Derrick Henry – was a unique player, one that we really haven't seen before or since, and I would have to give him the nod. But Bryce Young is coming and has a chance to,
he has a chance to do something
chapter
that we have not seen among Heisman Trophy winners, and that is someone win 2 Heisman trophies. We've not seen it since Archie Griffin
in the 70s.
Mm-hmm. And there have been opportunities along the way.
Yeah, several.
But we have not seen a player do so. Now that honor will go to Bryce Young. He will have, 2 more years, 2 more chances to do this?
Well,
is it one
more?
more?
I think Bryce is one more. I think he's got next year he'll be draft eligible.
Right.
He'll be a quote unquote junior. Yes, he could technically he could have 2 more years. I'm talking about even after next year because of the COVID. But we know that's not going to happen. I mean, we've already had ESPN personalities, and everybody knows I've ripped Dan Orlovsky. But Dan Orlovsky just said, and I hope it's true for Bryce's sake. But if he were coming out this year, he'd be the number 1 pick. So
yeah, because the quarterback
is always
draft pool is weak though this year. I will say this: the quarterback draft pool compared to last year,
it's totally weak.
Is weak.
But as you know, Scott, quarterback is always the position that's most coveted.
But there's not a quarterback out there, I think, in the draft this year that nobody wants to covet.
Yeah.
I mean, last year it was quarterback rich, and I think that's why everybody was trying to jockey in position because they looked at it this year and said, man, that quarterback position this year, it's going to be down. Who would you take this year in the draft? Nobody. All right, Brandon's with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Good morning, Brandon.
Gentlemen. What is the difference in the Titanic and C&M?
Oh, Lord. What would that be?
When the Titanic sank, it still had all its anchors.
Oh, my goodness.
Figured I would drop that one. I held that one yesterday. Y'all were a little busy.
Yeah, we had a lot to
get to. We didn't even get to Dan Lanning to Oregon until today.
We still haven't gotten
and not really,
today.
Yeah. I mean, and we'll say Kenny Dillingham from Florida State, the strong rumor is, will be the OC there under Dan Lanning.
Yeah, I called back yesterday, and Chad said, yeah, they're going to take Jeff. And I was like, I feel like Nate Oates looking for a handshake. But I'll try again tomorrow.
Wow.
Heisman, I want to go with Derrick Henry because of what he did.
Yeah.
But Devontae Smith destroyed, to me, if you turn tape on, he destroyed people's careers. If you look at what he did to Derek Stingley, he made that guy look pedestrian. He's supposed to be upper first round pick.
Well, you are right. I mean, yeah, that's a good point.
and Devontae Smith ended the national championship game at halftime.
Yeah.
He might have went for 500 yards without a broke finger. Ryan Day's still running up and down the sidelines thanking God that he had a dislocated finger in that game. Otherwise, it would have been even worse.
Yeah, because he was going to try to put two defensive linemen on him to cover him. Or two linebackers,
yeah,
I should say.
Yeah, 32
like
Lurch. He had a lot of trouble.
Let's put the slowest guy on the team against the fastest.
I mean, it was absolutely dumb. I mean, it's like I sit here right now and I look at Ohio State, and I've talked to some of their fans, and I'm like, well, how do you feel about Jamison Williams coming to Alabama and then making first-team All-American over the guys you got on the team? And they just look at me and they say, I don't know. I was like, how does your coaching staff allow that to happen?
Well, I mean, that's an interesting thing because that was you look at it going into the beginning of the year, Chris Olave from Ohio State was, one of the best receivers coming in. Ohio State was talent-rich at the quarterback position.
Garrett Wilson.
It almost reminds me a lot of Alabama being running back rich when Alvin Kamara was there.
Yeah.
And he transfers to Tennessee, and it's like, okay, how can Alabama let him go? But Alabama still had a lot. Ohio State had a lot of talent at that wide receiver position.
Look at Jerome Ford.
Yes, and I just think that that's one that they had so much talent that not everyone was going to get the ball, and he just had to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Well, and I look at that interview that Kamara did, and I saw it recently on social media again, where he talks about he got in so much trouble that Saban was almost ready to be rid of him because he was constantly getting into something, and he said that he still has love for Nick Saban. But I look at him as a situation where it wasn't that he didn't have talent, it's that he would not cooperate with the process, and he was a discipline problem that Saban almost ran him off and had to be rid of him. And when I look at these running backs like Brian Robinson, to me, one of Brian Robinson's best skills is blitz pickup. He does a lot to keep Bryce Young upright and on his feet in that pocket. And I don't care how good you can run the ball. If you can't do that for Saban, you ain't getting on the field. But with Jamison Williams, it just almost seemed like they didn't really give him a shot. He's never really come out and said that. But it almost seems like they didn't really give him a fair shot to start or put him in a position to be successful. And we all remember when Nick Saban said something about the transfer portal. Are you sure this is what you want?
Yeah.
Because he went and got two guys that he wanted, and he showed you what he's done with them. And there's no telling what he's going to do this year in the off season. So I understand there's talent-rich people that are moving around. You know, J.T. Daniels and Keaton Slovis ain't two of them, but they're talent-rich people that are moving around. That the transfer portal is going to help reshape things. It just amazes me that some of these guys that can be a first-team All-American and a high first-round draft pick at Ohio State just keep slipping by up there. And I really wonder, in a couple more years, if this continues, does Ryan Day keep his job in the day and age that we live in now, where what you've done for me lately defines who you are?
Well, Brent, I'll just say this. If he loses to Michigan a couple more years in a row, he will be on the hot seat quick, bro. It won't take long. Look at what they were saying about Harbaugh, and now Harbaugh has quelled some of that. But Ryan Day, if he starts losing to Jimmy Boy, I'm just telling you, they did tolerate John Cooper having a horrific record in that rivalry because he won a ton of games and he turned out a bunch of pros. But that was a different time. That was, you're talking 80s and 90s where there wasn't a Big Ten network and there wasn't a college football playoff. You better stay a contender quick, and you better not be losing rivalry games, or we've even seen it. There's even pressure on Harsin already at Auburn. I was hearing from yesterday that he has to win in year 2, or he has no ties to the university, and we know Alan Green has been kind of looking around the AD. They pull the trigger a lot. This 4 and 5 year plan stuff at most places is out the window. Right. You have to win quick.
All right, Brandon.
Well, and right now, before you go, Johnny Pate made a comment yesterday that the SEC is going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah. SEC West too.
This is going to be a knife fight to the death with all of these coaches. And the question is, who is the first victim? And I do think that Brian Harsin could quickly be the first victim because of the way the Auburn fans are talking about him. They're already saying, like what you're talking about, after what happened in the Iron Bowl, if he don't win next year, he's got to go. So we're going to get to the point to where we're giving people 2 years in the SEC West.
Yeah, it's rough.
Whew. Roll Tide.
Thanks for the phone call, Brandon. Let's get a break in. When we come back, wrap up hour one. We'll give you a chance to go see the Havoc play.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
Touchdown, Boilermakers! Witness tomorrow's NFL stars this month at the TransPerfect Music City Bowl.
First down, handoff, tailback, right up the middle to the 30. He's out of 20 to the 10. Crank up Rocky Top. Touchdown, right up the middle.
Don't miss a second as Tennessee and Purdue, 2 of college football's top programs, go head-to-head on Thursday, December 30th at 2 p.m. inside Nissan Stadium. For more information on this year's game, including ticket availability, visit MusicCityBowl.com. Presented by the Tennessee Lottery.
What can you expect when you shop for a firearm at Bullet & Barrel? Expect great prices. We specialize in quality over quantity. Expect great service. Our professional sales staff is never pushing. We won't talk you into something that doesn't fit your needs. You have the right to make a smart, informed decision. Expect Bullet & Barrel, Alabama's only 5-star indoor shooting range, to support you after the sale. Bullet & Barrel, 3252 Lehman Ferry Road. Like or follow us on Facebook. Come see us soon.
I'm Chris Haygood at Bob Wallace Appliance.
Hey, Dad, if someone gets an appliance for Christmas, how will Santa get it down the chimney?
Magic.
Madeline, part of the magic of the season is our chance to get together again. More often than not, those gatherings will be in the kitchen. Look for holiday savings on the best brands you already know and trust, like Whirlpool, KitchenAid, and Maytag.
Santa's gonna need some help delivering those.
That's what we're here for.
Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman.
Bob Wallace Appliance.
Hi, everybody. Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
Sitting here with Mark Kent of Southern Fidelity Mortgage Group of Huntsville. Mark, do you help pre-qualify people?
We pre-qualify people all the time, Wes. As a matter of fact, I love having them coming in here because when they come in and they pre-qualify, they can leave my office knowing exactly how much they can buy and have no worries.
Mark, tell me about your rates and pricing.
Well, Wes, this is something we're really, really proud of. Long story short is I love being able to provide the best pricing in town. Honestly, I cannot tell you the last time I lost a deal to either rate or pricing, something I'm very proud of.
So what all financing options do you have, Mark?
We do several different things. If you're purchasing a home, we can handle the purchase. If you're wanting to refinance your home, of course, rates are at the lowest they've been in the last 3 years. We do a lot of refinancing. If you're building a home, we can handle the entire process from breaking ground to the final close.
Do you sleep with your phone?
Wes, if you want to reach me, you can call me at my office phone, which is 256-562-1000. But always remember, I sleep with my cell phone at night. That number is 256-656-5936.
Good morning. One accident, Morgan County, Highway 31 just north of Vaughn Bridge. That's near Hartselle. That one did report with an injury. Should be about ready to clear up on it. Dealing with a heavy traffic load, and they've been working on the northbound side of Research Park at Old Madison Pike. They were working on the bridge beams there. Maybe some work in that area to watch for. Get 3 pieces of the crispy tender chicken and a buttermilk biscuit for $4.99 at Popeyes. University in Jordan, 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Do you want to go see the Huntsville Havoc play? If so, 256-576-4977. Give us a call, and you can go see them play on Friday, December 17th. I've got 2 vouchers. This will be good for 4 tickets to Friday's game. Again, 256-576-4977. It's that simple. If you want to go see the Havoc play on Friday, give us a call. We're not doing any trivia, no hard stuff today, Drew. We're just giving flat-out tickets away this morning.
Yes, we're taking care of our listeners, all the great folks that support our radio station, and we are giving away Huntsville Havoc tickets to 2 games this week. The Havoc returning home, having a great year under John DiTullio and all those guys. Or Glenn DiTullio. I'm not saying John for. Good grief. Now we've already made a mistake with Mac Jones. Glenn DiTullio.
Yeah, but that
Sorry.
one is not as bad as my Mac Jones, Devontae Smith one.
I got the last name right.
I gave Mac an award that he didn't win.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, Glenn DiTullio and the boys, they're doing great. They're playing great hockey. So go out and see the Havoc, support them, stay inside where it's warm, and just support a great organization that consistently does an outstanding job taking care of their fans as well.
All right, I bring this up because it makes me feel good, and it warms my heart when I saw this yesterday. Iowa and Kentucky are playing in the bowl game.
Yeah.
Yesterday, Iowa head coach Kurt Ferentz reached out to Mark Stoops. Mark Stoops is an Iowa alum, but
yes,
he reached out to Mark Stoops, and he told them, he asked what the Hawkeyes could do to support those in need in the state of Kentucky. Mark Stoops said he told him that the Kentucky Athletic Department is raising money for victims through a telethon and an online fundraiser. Kurt Ferentz then sent a message out to all of the Iowa nation, the Iowa fan base, and everybody. He says Hawkeye fans are passionate, and let's show them how compassionate we can be. He wants them to help those in need in the state of Kentucky to give. He wants Iowa fans to put aside the game, put aside all that stuff, and give to those in need in the state of Kentucky. So I bring that up because it did make me feel good. It made me feel warm because of my allegiance to Iowa and this bowl game. So I don't think Iowa's going to win, but I'm glad, though, that they're doing this.
Well, I mean, it's a great gesture by Kirk Ferentz and the class folks over at Iowa, and we feel and our hope and pray that for a quick recovery from those that in Kentucky, and we pray for those that lost loved ones in this.
I think yesterday 65.
Now it's up to 65. I know
it was up to 65.
I knew it had been in the
counting.
50s.
Yeah.
So that all those folks affected in the great state of Kentucky, we feel for them. It's horrific. We've gone through it in Alabama certainly. We Tuscaloosa, over a decade ago, and then Huntsville. I went through that in 1989. It is not easy, and so we certainly pray for those folks, especially during this time of year. And it's just really difficult when you lose a loved one and you lose, everything you worked for in many cases. So again, great gesture by Iowa and Kirk Ferentz.
All right, so 256-576-4977. That is the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. You can get in. Just about a minute or so left on the show this morning. Coming up in just a little bit, we will talk some recruiting. John Garcia Jr. will join us. And in case you need a refresher right now going into the 2022, this is how 24/7 ranks the recruiting rankings right now, the 2022 recruiting rankings. Tomorrow is the early signing period.
It is.
Right now, Alabama has the number 1 class, followed by Georgia with number 2, Texas A&M number 3, Ohio State 4, Penn State 5. Texas has the 6th best class. You go down to Florida State in the top 10, Kentucky 11. Right now, Missouri 14, South Carolina 16, Arkansas 17, Tennessee 18. You got to scroll all the way down. LSU 26, even though they have a coach now in Brian Kelly to hopefully anchor that down a little bit. Mississippi State 29, Vanderbilt 30.
Which is pretty dadgum good when you consider how bad Vanderbilt was.
Auburn, by the way, 32, Ole Miss 33.
But
so,
Auburn did have a good day yesterday as they got Austin Osbury from University Lab in Baton Rouge. He's a legacy to LSU. He commits to the University of, to Auburn University. What am I saying? Yeah. And then they also got 2 junior college players that are really going to help them. Marquise Gilbert of Hutchinson Community College, the number 1 JUCO safety in America. That was a huge get for the Auburn Tigers as well. So Auburn not done either. They think they're going to add several more pieces, especially defensively. But those 2 were huge. Austin Osbury, certainly, and Marquise Gilbert.
All right, we've set the table for the recruiting talk. John Garcia Jr. will sit down with us, grab a plate, and we will munch down on some recruiting numbers when we return. Second hour of Talking Ball.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com. In today's real estate market, you need the right professionals to help make sure your home purchase is smooth and hassle-free. That's where Jacob Title comes in. Stan McDonald and the staff at Jacob Title cater to the realtor and clients who are looking for a top-flight closing experience. Jacob Title uses the latest and best technologies to ensure a safe and secure exchange of funds, and they pride themselves on great communication well before and during the real estate closing process. Jacob Title in Huntsville and Madison, and online at jacobtitle.com.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
We should be back to a clean slate accident-wise now. Had that one in Morgan County, 31 north of Vaughn Bridge Road. That's in the Hartselle area. That one had an injury, but it should be about wrapped up. Everything else looking pretty good. You be careful. We're going to have a lot of folks in last-minute dash mode this morning. Snelling has entry-level positions for production operators and client service reps, starting at $13 an hour. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A beautiful Tuesday afternoon across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. Plenty of sunshine, temperatures hanging out in the low and mid-60s. Only dropping into the mid and upper 40s as we head into the overnight. A little more cloud cover for your Wednesday, but overall a really beautiful afternoon. Plenty of sunshine and temperatures hanging out in the mid and upper 60s. Some of us are going to make a pretty solid run at 70 degrees, dropping into the lower 50s as we head into the overnight. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
Bowl season kicks off Friday in the Bahamas Bowl. Toledo and Middle Tennessee State, the Blue Raiders getting 10 points, a total of 52. Also Friday, Coastal Carolina and Northern Illinois in the Cure Bowl. The Huskies a 10.5-point underdog, the over-under 63.5. Halo Infinite will kick off its competitive circuit Friday with the Halo Championship Series Kickoff Major. It's the first major in the all-new Halo circuit, and the Optic are the favorites to win at plus 220, Sentinels at plus 280, Cloud9 at plus 425, and E United at plus 700. College basketball tonight, number 6 Alabama, a 4.5-point favorite at Memphis. 13th ranked Auburn, minus 27.5 at home against North Alabama.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
It is hour 2 of Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Make sure you stay with us because at some point this hour, we will give you some more chances to win Huntsville Havoc tickets. Not going to tell you when. Just got to stay with us. We'll have some more opportunities for you. But we do have opportunity right now to talk some college football recruiting. We're going to talk a lot of college football recruiting tomorrow. It is the early signing period. It is a day that has come under scrutiny in the last, I guess you could say, 3 weeks, because there's been a lot of debate on whether or not we should move tomorrow, December 15th, the early signing period. Should we move it to another day? Is that the reason why these college football coaches are moving in mass exodus like they did this past offseason? We don't know. Maybe our next guest can help us, but he can also dissect a lot of these kids, the rankings, where they're going, who's going where, and the transfer portal rankings. All that and more. We got a lot of stuff to talk to.
Well, he's the director of recruiting for Sports Illustrated. He's been in the business for over a decade. One of the most respected talent evaluators I've ever had the pleasure of speaking with and talking recruiting with. And again, he's does such a great job grinding, because that's what it is when you're in this business. You have to grind 365 days a year. He studies film. He has a lot of great relationships throughout college and high school football. And, of course, we're talking about John Garcia, Jr., and he's with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. John, happy holidays to you. Welcome back to Huntsville with Drew and Scott. Good morning. Have you slept
John.
any?
I have gotten some sleep. I do have my second cup of coffee right now, so I'm ready to go. I'm all good.
John, what do you think about all this talk about moving the early signing period and these coaches leaving like they did and all the dust, I guess, that was kicked up in this past couple weeks about the early signing period?
Well, it just sounds like it did a decade ago, but for other reasons. And it was part of the reason they implemented the early signing period. You know, they were tired of Alabama and Georgia coming in and getting, you know, the middle tier recruit that was committed to, you know, a G5 school or a lower end Power 5 school. So the early signing period, in part, was established to lock some of these kids in so that the big schools couldn't poach come January or February. So that was one of the big advantages of the early period, in addition to following the trend of recruits graduating high school in December and enrolling at their college of choice in January. This kind of locked in that part of the process so that there was a little bit less drama, a little bit more tangibly known destinations when January rolled around, as opposed to kids just enrolling without having signed anything, and you may miss out on a kid or two, and that can fudge the numbers a little bit. So I understand why they did it back then, but I understand why there's gripes about it now. There is no doubt that the ESP has created momentum and urgency in making a coaching change. It seems like if you're on the bubble, the change is made a little bit earlier in order to reposition yourself as a program to be able to make some kind of an impact come mid-December. So obviously a lot of issues with that. There's chatter about scrapping the early signing day altogether. There's chatter about moving it to July. But again, What if coaching changes happen during the season? How does that work for those recruits? So I think no matter where you move it to or how you change it, there is going to be a group of people who have an issue with it. I think it's just magnified this year because the coaching carousel was obviously crazier than most of us have ever seen in any one given year.
Well, and to piggyback off of that, John, we've seen a ton of impact with it. A lot of decommitments, a lot of flips. That it's even more chaotic this year to track. I mean, you taught me something many years ago about tracking the visits, tracking coaching movement. That's had a bigger effect, I would think, this year than any I can remember because of the high-profile jobs that were open all at the same time.
100%. I mean, when Lincoln Riley goes from Oklahoma to UST, everything kind of flipped on its head at that point. In my mind, I think Oklahoma had 6 decommitments the next day. Cristobal going from Oregon to Miami. I think Oregon has had 6 or 7 decommitments since that point, and a couple of those kids have already made extra commitments or new commitments. Texas picked up two offensive linemen who were Oregon Duck verbals over the weekend. So it certainly creates a lot of fluidity between committing and decommitting, which, to the traditionalist is kind of a bad deal, right? The old mantra was you commit to the school, not the coach. But, who's recruiting these kids? It's the coaches. And these are teenagers who build bonds earlier than ever with a given coaching staff. So you understand why there is so much movement when these guys take other jobs. And again, this year was really, this is like, year zero, example zero for the trials and tribulations of recruiting during the coaching changes, because a lot of programs have gone through it with some rough spots, and some of them, like Oregon, who just announced Dan Lanning as the head coach yesterday. I mean, they've got no shot to patchwork the class with just 24 hours left until a lot of these kids are going to sign national letters of intent. So you certainly understand why there is some scrutiny, but you also understand why the kids make moves depending on what the coaches do, because those are the human beings connecting and establishing relationships with their potential future student athletes.
Well, and you look at it, and you mentioned Alabama, Georgia, all these ones, why they did the implementing the early signing period. Right now, Alabama's still in position for another top class, no matter what they do, where they move it. Nick Saban has proven it doesn't matter when and where. He's going to recruit and still recruiting. He's done it again this year.
Right. It's just remarkable. We expect it, but it still happens, right? Just like the on-field product, it is always a different cast of coaches, and in this case, a different cast of recruits, but they still find their way to Tuscaloosa regardless of this scenario. Right now, like you said, Bama, number 1 class in the country, the most SI-99 recruits of any school. They've got 9 right behind them, Texas A&M with 8, Georgia with 7. And really it's going to come down to those 3 schools for the number 1 class in the country. I think the anti-SEC crowd, if they didn't like this year enough because there's 2 SEC teams in the playoffs, they should not pay attention come signing day, because it's going to be 1, 2, 3 in all likelihood in some way, shape, or form. I think Bama and A&M have the best chance to finish with the number 1 class, but there's still a lot of battles to be had between those 3 schools at the very top of the list. So there's still going to be some drama going forward, but I think Alabama, worst case scenario, probably finishes number 2 and has another group where we start comparing them to the other recruiting classes Saban has brought in, and inevitably somebody will call it the greatest class of all time because it's kind of the era we live in. But there's no doubt the consistency, the stability of Alabama is really selling over the long term, as opposed to other programs who are kind of catching lightning in a bottle, either late in the cycle or maybe had some off-season momentum with different recruiting events and the pandemic restrictions lifting, enabling schools to host recruits and visitors for the first time in a while.
We're with John Garcia, Jr. of SI 99, Sports Illustrated, Director of Recruiting. John, you just mentioned Alabama. As far as with a little less than 24 hours to go before this the madness starts, who are some of the guys to track in your mind for Alabama that are not committed officially, that they're in battle, some of them with Texas A&M, some of them with Georgia, but who are some of the guys to watch in your mind that for Alabama trying to finish this class off in the early period?
Well, the secondary is the prime position group for me. Bama's in it for SI-99 recruit Denver Harris, Damani Jackson, Earl Little, all extremely coveted targets, all very much high on Alabama. Would be surprised if they somehow whiffed on that group. And corner, obviously, always important for Bama and Nick Saban. Pass rusher's a big deal as well. Jahad Campbell was just on campus. He's a Clemson decommitment who has Bama high on his list. Marvin Jones, Curtis Perry, the in-state recruit, also in that conversation. So secondary, and we should add Dalen Everett, another IMG guy, to that list. Secondary and pass rusher, really the bigger positions that Alabama has a lot of guys in the running for. And then, as you mentioned, Georgia-Bama battle for the top uncommitted recruit in Alabama. That's Shamar James, the linebacker from Faith Academy down in Mobile. That one's been razor thin. Mm-hmm. We thought Florida was a sneaky pick, a sneaky dark horse for Shamar, but it looks like who was retained and who wasn't by Billy Napier is going to wrap that up for the Gators. So this is another Bama-Georgia battle. I do think Bama has a slight advantage at this juncture, especially with the Dan Lanning move from UGA all the way out to Oregon. But like everything else at this time of year, nothing is official until you sign on the dotted line. And for that matter, both Bama, Georgia, and A&M, they've all got commits who could potentially be looking to sign with other programs too. So no shortage of drama. But I think among the three, Bama has the most top targets still available. So basically more room to add to the class than both A&M and Georgia. So obviously if we're making some predictions ahead of time, Bama's got a higher ceiling than the other two, which is why they're number one now and probably why they have the best chance to finish number one when it counts.
No question about that, John. And it's going to be quite a busy day. And then I know you wrote about this yesterday as well, all the quarterback free agency. That was a big topic for Scott and I in hour one. We see what South Carolina has pulled off with Spencer Rattler going to Columbia. Alabama's in great shape with Bryce Young. But it's I'm only half joking when I ask you this. Are you going to have to start at SI-99 at Sports Illustrated, creating a separate category of portal class?
It's come across my desk already. It is just a different time. It's a totally different time. And the quarterback talent, I mean, look at the experience and production still in the portal. Even beyond the guys who have made decisions. You're talking 3-year starter Bo Nix, 4-year starter Adrian Martinez, FCS Player of the Year candidate and Cameron Ward. I mean, there are absolutely elite recruits all over the place. Max Johnson, LSU, at the quarterback position. So that's almost its own recruiting department. It's like its own situation and category. And yeah, Rattler coming off the board was very big last night. I was a little surprised to see it was South Carolina, but obviously there is a Shane Beamer connection there, given that he coached there for a couple of years. And obviously Quinn Ewers coming off the board to Texas. For me, that was the one that kind of set it off. That was the domino that needed to drop so everyone else could kind of regather and focus their attention. And ironically, Ewers is the one with the least amount of experience, but maybe was the most coveted in the portal anyway. So another sign of the times and how important it is to always be looking to bolster that quarterback room, because at that position, things change in such a hurry. And we haven't even gotten to spring ball yet, where the bigger quarterback rooms, USC, Georgia, Ohio State, Texas, could certainly have even more movement into the portal after those spring battles materialize. So that position and the transfer portal itself is kind of its own beast. So we'll see if we adjust accordingly, but we absolutely have to cover it because it changes the landscape of college football in a very short amount of time.
Brian Harsin got off to a slow start at Auburn recruiting, has picked it up a little bit. Big day for the Tigers yesterday. They're kind of moving up a little bit. Do we anticipate a big day tomorrow and the coming days, or is this going to be where a few days from now we're going to see Auburn really go heavy in the transfer portal?
I think Auburn's going to dip into the portal and continue to dip into the junior college ranks pretty much regardless of how tomorrow goes. They did pick up a JUCO safety yesterday. I really like the Austin Osbury commitment at corner they picked up from Baton Rouge yesterday as well. They did lose Drew Bobo, who flipped to Georgia. But there's still some guys left on the table for the Tigers. We mentioned Curtis Perry earlier. A lot of people view that as an Iron Bowl battle. I've got my eye on Clemson a little bit. They got the last visit. We all know what Todd Bates can do as a recruiter, and that's been Perry's guy pretty much from the beginning. So I'm keeping an eye on Clemson with that one. But, of course, the Iron Bowl teams would never surprise me with the premier pass rusher within state lines. And then number one JUCO recruit, Jeffrey Mbav, very high on Auburn. He took a bunch of visits over the last couple of months, and I think Auburn hosted him for the most amount of days, which is very important. Missouri, Tennessee, some other contenders there. But no doubt, Auburn is finally trending up. I think yesterday that was their first commit in over 2 months. So they're trending in the right direction at the right time. The coaching carousel has come to a halt, and they can kind of try to finish strong December, January, February. I expect more high school recruits in February, and I certainly expect the Tigers to be major players in the transfer portal because you just have to, right? The attrition of a transition coaching staff is already a beast to deal with, and Harsin has already dealt with that in year one. But now, replacing the newly departed players and replenishing that scholarship limit is absolutely a must in the SEC. We know it's a long season, unbelievable teams and talent, so you've got to be built for the long haul. And I think they'll do so with players with college experience more so than high school.
Yeah, and then, John, there's so many schools like LSU, Oklahoma to a degree, even though they got Jeff Lebby at OC, that still have instability as far as at the coordinator spots. You already mentioned Dan Lanning leaving Georgia to go to Oregon. How could that affect Shamar James? That's the other part of it too. Not just the head coach is leaving, but so many coordinator changes. And right now, a lot of schools were trying to get kids to sign without coordinators being in place.
Yeah, and that's where, you start to see the consistency and talent of the head coach. And I think if it's a like-minded coach, I think it helps. So for Georgia, losing Dan Lanning, but you have a defensive-minded head coach, Kirby Smart, I think that helps ease it. Same thing with Ole Miss. You mentioned Jeff Lebby leaving. Obviously, Lane Kiffin is known as an offensive coach as well. So I think that helps for continuity purposes, but obviously the assistant coaches are the ones that just have more time and more flexibility to get in with these recruits. So when they make changes, it's oftentimes just as important as when the head coach makes one of these dramatic coaching changes. So, again, I know the traditionalists don't like to hear it, but, kids commit to the coach as much as they commit to the brand and the school and the in-state school, the school they grew up rooting for, all of those things. The coaches matter a ton in that situation. So I think the coordinators are a very good point to bring up because a lot of programs are still filling out staffs. Oregon, Florida, Oklahoma, they've got a couple of coaches on board officially and are still looking to fill out multiple important assistant roles in addition to the schools, as you mentioned, like Georgia and Ole Miss that are replacing coordinators. So it's a wild time. I think it reemphasizes that there is a long play here for all of these colleges, and tomorrow is just sort of step one in building the latest chapter of that roster.
It's going to be the latest and a crazy one. It's going to be where you better have a lot of espresso and a lot of coffee because it's going to be crazy to monitor. I know, John, you're going to be a busy guy tomorrow. We appreciate the time today and letting us in on what Alabama and Auburn may be trying to accomplish. We certainly look forward to following your coverage. Let everybody know how to follow you and what you guys are doing at Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, absolutely. All free content at si.com/college/football. We'll have a live blog launching, 6, 7 a.m. tomorrow morning with up-to-the-minute information. We'll crown an early signing period champion between those three schools. So, yeah, check us out, si.com, and my social media at JohnGarcia_JR.
Thanks, man. We appreciate the time. We know it's a busy one.
Always a pleasure, fellas. Take care.
All right, thanks. John Garcia Jr. with us, 8:20. Tell you what, Drew, let's send some more people to the Havoc game on Friday, shall we? We're in a giving mood today. So we've got 2 more vouchers. These are good for 4 tickets. If you want to go see the Huntsville Havoc play on Friday, 256-576-4977. Give Chad a call now. If you want to go see the Huntsville Havoc play on Friday, it's that simple. I tell you what, this is like December. I feel like Santa Claus or something, just giving people the chance to go see the Havoc play. But that was good conversation there with John Garcia Jr. It will be a busy day tomorrow. It will be a busy one. Make sure you join us tomorrow. We will have the early signing period covered for you during our 2 hours. Again, according to 24/7 Sports, Alabama drew the top class, Georgia number 2, Texas A&M 3. So really another banner day for the SEC.
Yeah, that's what John was saying, and that's what I've been saying. The top 3 classes, Alabama, Texas A&M, Georgia, that's what's going to be your top 3 in some order. I think it'll be Texas A&M. Yeah, that's what I just said. Number 1, Alabama number 2, and then Kirby Freeze and Georgia number 3.
Really?
But I think that that's the way it'll finish is my prediction. I think Texas A&M, they've got a lot of players out there, several that they could bring in. As John said, Alabama's got even more upside with that and more irons in the fire. But I think if Alabama can't sign them all, and if Texas A&M, if they get a few of these targets that they've got out there, and I think they will, I think it'll be enough for 4 loss to win a recruiting national championship instead of one on the field.
All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, we will continue this recruiting talk. We've got a couple things to mention before we bring in our next guest, and that'll be Justin Hokanson. He had his pulse on Bo Nix. He had his pulse on Tanks Bigsby. What is the pulse read now? We'll find out after we take this break.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a couple of wrecks on the board. 565 eastbound at the Parkway. No injury reported there. Had one in Decatur, 4th Avenue and 1st Street. That one was a hit-and-run accident. Had a piece of city equipment involved. From routine care to heart failure, Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialists have the expertise to care for all matters of the heart. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Alabama Crimson Tide Athletics all season long is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, home of the 5-star experience. Bob Wallace Appliance, locally owned and operated since 1978. Brooks & Collier, your indoor and outdoor living headquarters, celebrating 75 years. The Aldridge Law Firm, Wow, Halls RV, and University Kia. Listen to the Crimson Tide Sports Network right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Southern Fidelity Mortgage. Think of them as a loan for everyone, offering more products than anyone else and the guaranteed lowest rates and costs in town. Of the 2,000 loans that Southern Fidelity Mortgage has pre-approved over the last 10 years, all but one have closed. That's unprecedented in the banking business. For FHA, VA, rural development, and conventional mortgages, for the best mortgage experience in town, it's Southern Fidelity Mortgage.
Call Southern Fidelity Mortgage Company at 256-656-5936.
What can you expect when you shop for a firearm at Bullet & Barrel? Expect great prices. We specialize in quality over quantity. Expect great service. Our professional sales staff is never pushy. We won't talk you into something that doesn't fit your needs. You have the right to make a smart, informed decision. Expect Bullet & Barrel, Alabama's only 5-star indoor shooting range, to support you after the sale. Bullet & Barrel, 3252 Lehman Ferry Road. Like or follow us on Facebook. Come see us soon.
Orange is the color of power, of progress, the color of Kubota and Huntsville Tractor and Equipment. Those who need to get things done, trust Kubota's L and M Series tractors, zero-turn mowers, the fun sidekick, from one of the top dealers in the country. More than 50 years of family service, every part in the book, and folks who know what to do with them. You'll be seeing Orange with Huntsville Tractor and Equipment.
Come on, let's go to work.
Have you ever found exactly the right new car or truck with the exact features that you want and nothing else? Well, at Woody Anderson Ford, we can promise you just that. Hey, Bobby White back again, and you can now factory order your new Ford today, and you'll get your new car or truck exactly the way you want it. And there's no extra cost to custom order. Plus, you get $1,000 off MSRP on top of any additional factory rebates. This applies to 2021 F-150, Explorer, Ranger, and Expedition. It's a win-win with a custom order at Woody Anderson Ford. You get the colors, the features, and the options that fit your life. Plus, you get notified when it's built, shipped, and ready to deliver. Listen, buying a new car or truck is likely the second largest investment you'll ever make. So why settle? Get exactly what you want with a custom factory order today. and get $1,000 off MSRP. See how at WoodyAndersonFord.com or at the corner of Jordan Lane and Sparkman Drive. Hope to see you soon.
Never mind fall and football being in the air. We want to taste it.
And never mind not being able to tailgate at the game. Let's create the ultimate barbecue experience in your own backyard.
You said it, Foster Brooks, and that's where Brooks & Collier comes in. Big selection of outdoor furniture.
And a big selection of grills and smokers like Traeger, Big Green Egg, Blaze, even DCS, and more.
This is the good stuff.
And Paul, we definitely got the accessories. And remember, we deliver. Visit us at 813 Meridian Street and shop online at brooksandcollier.com.
In 2 years, you can have a career that makes sense for you. Skill up and earn a living working with your hands. Or work on the front line of computer information systems and cybersecurity. Get a degree that lets your healing heart take care of people. Help design and manufacture the most advanced cars, machinery, or even aerospace components. In just 2 years, great careers are within your reach at Drake State Community and Technical College. Visit drakestate.edu to apply.
The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. From today's headlines to the guests you want to hear from.
Who wants to party?
Listen in and join in. Weekday afternoons starting at 5. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Chuck Oliver. Listen to me coming up at noon today. Now, back to Talkin Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
And just like that is how we bring you back in 8:27 on a Tuesday morning. National Signing Day comes up tomorrow, but the Auburn Tigers have had a busy 24 hours either on the recruiting trail or in the transfer portal. Not guys coming into Auburn, but guys going out of Auburn. And I said guys, I should say guy.
Yeah.
By the way, Sean Shivers did make his announcement that he is headed to the Big Ten. I believe Indiana is where he is headed. But I should say guy because it could have been guys in the transfer portal. But as you mentioned, in today's college football landscape, you have to do a better job of recruiting your own team sometimes than you do recruiting players to come join your team.
Yeah, they really do. And, our next guest this will be his first time on the show, since he got back in the business. And for many years, he was with Rivals and Auburn Sports, and then Auburn Undercover, part of 24/7 Sports. Then he went into the business world, and now back with Auburn Live on 3 and doing a great job breaking stories, including the major ones in the transfer portal for Bo Nix, and then the retention of Tank Bigsby. He was all over that story, and he's been good enough to join us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, and that is Justin Hokanson of Auburn Live on 3. Justin, we appreciate the time. You're with Drew and Scott in Huntsville. How are you this morning?
I'm good, man. Pardon my voice. I'm dealing with a little bit of a cold, just FYI. But, man, I appreciate y'all having me on.
Yeah, no problem, brother. We appreciate it. And some major news from Auburn coming out of the transfer portal and recruiting in the last 24 hours. But you were all over it. Been following your Twitter account closely. You were all over the story with Bo Nix and him deciding to move on from Auburn, and now Tank Bigsby. At first, it looked like he would move on as well, but a huge retention to hit the roster for Brian Harsin and his staff right now for bringing Tank back.
Yeah, that's what it appears, and that was a seriously fluid situation.
Yes,
and they had to do work on him, not just a meeting. There were multiple meetings, so they had to do work on him and finally just kind of get him over the hump of, okay, fine, I'm coming back, and getting him off the ledge of transferring. So yeah, that's big. I mean, Tank. I mean, he could go anywhere. I mean, anybody would take him right now. He could walk into Ohio State and they would love to have him. I mean, he's got that kind of ability. So selling him on the vision for next year and convincing him when you don't know what the quarterbacks look like and you don't know what the line looks like, pretty good job by that staff to retain him right now.
Yeah, obviously, as we mentioned, sometimes you have to recruit your team harder. Does this mean that you think they sold them on definitely Auburn knowing who the offensive coordinator will be?
Probably. I mean, I've been reporting, I guess, for like the last week that Austin Davis is things are trending his way. He's the Seattle Seahawks quarterback coach. I'd be surprised if that's not the guy. And I think if they land him, I think there's a decent chance Brian Harsin calls plays. Nothing's for sure until they announce it, but there's a decent chance. So it wouldn't shock me at all if part of the conversation with Tank and even Bo could have been, hey, here's kind of what our plan is, just so you know. We're going to bring somebody in, but I'm probably going to call plays. And it could have been something for Tank to have a little bit of comfort and at least knowing what's going to happen. Because, yeah, I do think behind the scenes they pretty much know what direction they're going with the offense. And whoever they hire, it's going to be Brian Harsin's offense. He wanted it to be more his offense, and him and Bobo kind of clashed. I don't think you'll have that clash moving forward. I think Brian Harsin maybe learned his lesson there. And so whoever it is, Harsin's telling him this is what we're doing.
Yeah, here we go again. An Auburn football team with a head coach wanting his offense, calling his plays. I mean, boy, this just sounds like we've been down this road before.
Now, for our listeners, Justin, what was the disconnect in your mind stylistically, I guess, with Bobo and Harsin?
Oh, that's a good question. And I can't completely answer that. I just know that for whatever reason, whether it was personality, whether it was how they approached, organizing the offense or coordinating it, it just didn't work. I think they said a lot of the good things when, at the beginning of the season, Harsin talked about how great in the room and how you have ideas from me and ideas from Mike Bobo and ideas from these people, and you mesh them together. And he certainly made it sound great, but I think it was as much just approach as it was anything else. It was probably some play calling, probably some identity stuff and some concept stuff on when we should call things. But I think it was also just approach to calling it, organization. And Harsin's a very specific guy. He's a very detailed guy, and he's a very specific guy. And I think if you're not on the same page with him, it's just you're going to butt heads with him, and it's not going to work. It's going to be tough. And so that's just kind of what happened with him and Bobo. It just wasn't a good fit for, I think, a myriad of reasons.
Well, now Bo Nix puts his name in the transfer portal, leaves T.J. Finley as the, guy with the most experience, and he'll get all the snaps, presumably, in the Birmingham Bowl. What's your feeling on Brian Harsin going with the quarterback position now? A lot of people want to put transfer portal guys in there. Big names come up there. Does Auburn look at someone like a Keaton Slovis, maybe from USC, to come in?
I think they've got to look. Now, whether they do or not, I don't think anybody knows right now. But I think when you look at the situation, you say you got T.J. Finley coming in, who didn't blow the doors off of anything last year, and then you've got D. Davis, and you've got a true freshman coming in. I think to me, if you're going to bring in, look at it last year. Bo Nix had a lot more experience and a lot more big wins under his belt than T.J. Finley, and you still brought in a college transfer to compete with Bo Nix. So if you're going to do that, then to me, you've got to do it again. You've got to bring in a guy that potentially could start and that could push T.J. Finley, and then see what happens. Let it be a competition. And then if the spring comes and you got somebody, whether it's D or TJ or whoever that feels like they need to leave, so be it. But I think you need to bring somebody in to create more competition, a college quarterback that has a little bit of experience, to push that quarterback room, to push TJ Finley and to push everybody involved. I don't think it hurts anything. And look, you saw Bo Nix got hurt. So if Finley gets hurt, you got to be ready to start a true freshman. So I think that they'll bring somebody in. I would be really, really surprised if they don't bring in a college transfer, considering they did it a year ago.
And I really enjoyed your piece on the Bo Nix situation from the standpoint, the interesting commentary you had about really Brian Harsin's era starting now, because Bo Nix is now gone. He's gone somewhere else. I guess first part of the question, talk about that and talk about Bo departing, and where might we see Bo Nix matriculate to? We had a caller call in yesterday who claimed he's has a relationship with someone close to family, and he thinks UCF could be the landing spot. But just talk about the interesting take you had on the program really starting now for Brian Harsin, and then where might we see Bo Nix resurface?
Yeah, first on Bo, I would say UCF and Cincinnati are two schools that I heard
right
like a week and a half ago when I was saying he was leaning towards transferring, I think those were already in his mind at potential places, and both those make a lot of sense. And we'll see if Ole Miss certainly is in the picture. I would imagine too. I did see a note that Bo there's a note in the transfer portal that says do not contact him, which generally means they pretty much have an idea of either where they're going or the 2 or 3 schools that they're going to choose from. And so I think watch for UCF, Ole Miss, and Cincinnati at the moment, I would probably say. As far as the Brian Harsin area, yeah, it just feels like Bo Nix wasn't his quarterback. I think Harsin liked Bo as a person. I personally don't know how much Harsin liked Bo as a quarterback. I think Brian Harsin's a guy that wants a consistent, reliable, steady, whatever that is. And Bo's not that. Bo can be amazing, and then Bo can go, make plays that you just make you scratch your head. So I just think that situation combined with Brian Harsin and his staff trying to figure out recruiting in the SEC for the first year, playing a first season, it feels like the decision for Bo to move on at the same point as early signing day coming up, it just feels like the Brian Harsin era is maybe starting now. Like him and Bo Nix part ways, which I think was probably good for everybody. I don't think that would have worked if they would have talked Bo into staying. I'm not sure that would have worked next year. There probably would have been second guessing on Bo Nix's part. So I think it's good that they split ways. And I just think that now it's like Brian Harsin had a year to learn. He learned the league, recruiting, off the field, on the field. He makes the decision that he probably could have done something to keep Bo Nix, potentially. I think there's probably something he could have said or done to placate to them, and he wasn't going to do that, whatever that's going to be. And Bo Nix made the decision based on that.
Yeah.
So it just feels like it's the start of his era now. Like he's learned a lot. Bo Nix is gone. There's going to be more transfers out. There's going to be transfers in. And now I feel like we can really start judging Harsin, harshly, critically, whatever you want to do. I feel like it starts really now, and now you can really judge him moving forward.
Yeah, you almost get that sense with Mike Bobo now that you know that maybe they weren't on the same page, but he loaded guys, assistant coaches with SEC experience, got his feet wet into the league, and now he's going to get guys that he's more comfortable with, that he wants to ride with, because he has an understanding now of the SEC and what to expect.
Yeah, and that kind of, I understand that thinking completely. If you're Brian Harsin, Gus was sort of similar. If you're in this position and you're at a place like Auburn, you want guys around you that you can trust completely, and you're going to fail or succeed with people you trust. I get that, but you're not always going to find that person, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting to see who Harsin hires as OC. Like if there's more turnover over the next year or two, if he's got to replace more coaches, you're not always going to be able to find that guy that has a history with you and that completely believes everything you do. It's just not always going to work. So hopefully he learned from the Boba situation, and if they do bring somebody in that you kind of have to mesh ideas, that they can get that to work. Because Harsin seems like so far a pretty strict disciplinarian type guy, not going to bend. It's black and white with him. And we'll see how that kind of serves him this year, next year on staff and players. We'll just see how that kind of black and white mentality sort of serves him moving forward.
Well, and then we're talking to Justin Hokanson of Auburn Live on 3 right now. Going to be a huge day for Harsin tomorrow. They had really good news yesterday. Number 1 JUCO safety in America from Hutchinson Community College in Kansas, Marquise Gilbert commits, and they also get Austin Osbury from the Lab School in Baton Rouge, an LSU legacy 4-star defensive back. Defensively, it looks like they're going to load up. They have their irons in the fire for some outstanding junior college prospects. What is your overview and outlook for Auburn tomorrow?
I think it's going to be a good day. I think that they've set the foundation over the last month to have, a big day yesterday. They're probably going to get 2 more today, and then hopefully land some guys on Wednesday. Now there's some toss-ups in there for sure, and they could lose some guys, and it could be an okay day tomorrow, or it could be a fantastic day. But I think the work they've done Monday, Tuesday, and then they'll get their fair share tomorrow. And I think they kind of set it up that way. I think going on the last month, I think they decided, hey, we could get these commitments sort of scattered or let's just, if we feel like we've got a bunch of guys, let's just have a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday where we're talked about every day in the national recruiting scene for 3 straight days. It's a good strategy, and I think that's what they're going for. And so if they could pull off a Darius Clemens or a Trey Citizen or somebody like that on Wednesday, that would be icing on the cake. I mean, I think they're going to get some players, but there's a few, Curtis Perry, there's a couple that will get them that kind of big-time national notoriety, that if they can land one of those guys, it'd be a big deal. Despite the 6-6 season and OC change, Bo Nix leaving, they've got a really good chance of landing a top 20 class. I feel pretty good about a top 15 class potentially. I mean, so I think for what this staff had to learn in terms of recruiting in this league, which they had the big learning curve. I'm just telling you, big learning curve. If they can do that, I'd be very encouraged about what they could potentially do next year, because I think they're now seeing, okay, we understand what it's like to recruit in the SEC now. We weren't quite sure. Now we get it, and let's see what they do next year.
Yeah, and Justin, for to finish up our conversation, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk a little Bruce Pearl in Auburn. The compliance office at Auburn hit this out of the park. They've gotten this NCAA investigation, though it lasted a long time, relatively 4 years. They get it in the rearview mirror. They've self-imposed many of the penalties. Now they have right now a top 15 team in the country. Jabari Smith drawing comparisons to Kevin Durant. Your impressions thus far of Auburn basketball and with Alan Flanagan on the cusp of returning?
Yeah, you're right about the compliance department. They did a really good job the last 3 or 4 years of self-imposing some sanctions, and so by the time the NCAA finally ruled on this thing, they gave Auburn a lot of credit for that kind of time served type stuff. So they really, really did a good job, including that postseason ban last year. I think saved their tail and not having one moving forward. As far as this team, yeah, it's a really, really talented team. I think privately, if Bruce Pearl could tell you, what's in his head, I think he would tell you that this team could win a national championship. Now, there's a lot of things that have got to go their way. They got to keep getting better. But you look at what this team's capable of. They've got a guy like Jabari Smith, who's a top 3 pick. You've got Walker Kessler, who can defend the rim. This whole team can really defend Devin Cambridge, Jasper, Katie Johnson, and you bring back Alan Flanagan, who I think people are thinking about him probably more as a scorer. He's maybe a better defender. He's very long and athletic. When he gets out there, this team's really going to be able to defend at a high level, and they already are. And then you factor in, his ability to get to the basket and things like that. They're a pretty complete team. A lot of it depends on Zep Jasper and Wendell Green at the point guard spots. That just has to continue to develop and be consistent point guards. But so far Zep Jasper leads the country in assist to turnover ratio, and Wendell Green comes off the bench and can put up 17 or 19 points like he did Saturday. So they've got the pieces. It's just about continuing to get better, and then once Flanagan gets back in there, figuring out kind of a new rotation, a new chemistry. I think this team, you probably won't see what this team's capable of completely till into January, starting into February probably. And then at that point, let's see where they're at. But they've got the pieces. There's not a whole lot of basketball teams in college basketball that can say we have every piece. We have rebounding and defense and shot blocking and three-point shooting. And I think this team has every piece. It's just a matter of if it comes together at the right time.
I mean,
that's impressive.
Yeah, it really is, Scott. I mean, there could be
is
a golden era in this state of basketball with what Alabama and Auburn and even UAB are doing now too under Andy Kennedy. But this is just if you're a basketball fan, the 2 Alabama and Auburn games are going to be unbelievable with all the talent on the floor. But Justin, we appreciate the time. We know it's a busy one for you. Let everybody know how to connect with you guys over at Auburn Live on 3, and we know that the information is going to be jumping today. You talked about potentially 2 pieces of the recruiting class, and then into tomorrow.
Yeah, auburnlive.com, part of On3, which is just an amazing site that On3's got going on, and auburnlive.com. Yeah, there's Enos Sledge is a commitment at 1 o'clock. He's going to make his decision, and then Jadarian Rim, a corner from Louisiana, is going to make his decision at 5. So there's 2 more that Auburn hopes to get today. But, yeah, appreciate y'all's time, man. auburnlive.com. We would love for people to come be a part of our community. And what On3's got going on, especially on the recruiting side, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it really is. We look forward to speaking again soon. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Justin.
Thank you so much.
All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, we mentioned how good the basketball is. All three are in action tonight. All three are in the top 30 in the net rankings. How good are they? We'll explain when we return.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
We got a lot of folks in last-minute dash mode scrambling trying to get in on time this morning. Sounds like we've got a problem around the Parkway exits on 565 eastbound. Got a wrecker in there trying to clear a wreck. And we got a wreck indicator, 4th Avenue and 1st Street. Had a piece of city equipment involved. I think it was a hit and run, so it may take a few minutes to get it wrapped up. 20/30 Fast Track can make your clothes fall off. Allison lost 100 pounds in 7 months on the plan. A free hormone quiz will tell you if the program can work for you. 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Give the golfers in your life this Christmas the awesome gift of golf at Gunter's Landing. It includes 18 masterfully crafted holes that offer awe-inspiring beauty with a choice of difficulty ranging from moderate to advanced. This holiday season, give the gift of golf with our Zone deal. Get 2 rounds of golf plus cart, a $110 value for just $55. The perfect stocking stuffer. Get yours before they're gone. This Friday morning online at 977ESPN.com.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, here letting you know we are proud supporters of Alabama A&M University football. Stop into University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including the all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and sporty new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com and view all our great offers and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today, because we want to see ya in a Kia. Go Bulldogs!
Tom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Tom Luganbill here for Woody Anderson Ford. When I was in the Tennessee Valley, one of the things that impressed me the most was the quality of the people. People like Bobby White and his team at Woody Anderson Ford. And now you can experience the tremendous new service lanes and showroom at Woody Anderson Ford, at Jordan and Sparkman, or just stop by for breakfast or lunch at Henry's Mustang Cafe. And in Madison, visit Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, just south of 72. Like a great college football tradition, always there, Woody Anderson Ford.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
And it is time for your tomorrow's headlines today. It is a big night for college basketball in the state of Alabama. Alabama, Auburn, and UAB both in action on the hardwood tonight, and that is a good thing. Alabama will travel to take on Memphis. 6th-ranked Alabama travels to take on Memphis. 13th-ranked Auburn will welcome North Alabama tonight in the second game of the Bruce Pearl 2-game suspension. And UAB will take on Grambling. Why is all of this important? Because all three teams are ranked inside the top 30 in the net rankings. Alabama comes in 11th, Auburn comes in 12th, and UAB comes in 28th. So we talk about how good is this state right now in the terms of college basketball. It is probably as good right now as it has ever been since I've been here, and that is 1999. You got to go all the way back before that. I don't know how good it was before that, because I know UAB made several NCAA tournament appearances, so is Alabama, Auburn. But, Drew, this is probably as good as basketball has been at a high level in this state in a long time.
I can't remember it, even in the salad days of Wimp Sanderson and Sonny Smith, who both did a great job at their respective institutions. I've never seen more talent, let's just put it that way, on both the Alabama and Auburn side.
Right.
We just heard from Justin Hokanson. He was talking about they got a top 3 pick in Jabari Smith, who's an outstanding player. You've got a Walker Kessler who left North Carolina to come to Auburn. Yes, he did. This is not a football situation. This was basketball.
Right.
And Walker Kessler is a legacy at Georgia. His whole family played there, yet he comes to Auburn. You've got Wendell Green from Eastern Kentucky. You've got Zep Jasper that they got out of the portal. Auburn is very, very talented, and they're going to get Alan Flanagan back, the son of Wes Flanagan, who's been on our program. They are extremely talented. Alabama's got J.D. Davison, a lottery pick in his own right, who's doing more and more outstanding things for Alabama. You've got, just Keon Ellis, who I know right now he's slumping a little bit offensively, but I still think he's one of the better two-way players in the SEC. You've got Javon Quinterly, a former McDonald's All-American who transferred from Villanova to Alabama. Yes, you get a McDonald's All-American.
Transferring, nonetheless.
Yeah, exactly. So you got Jaden Shackelford, who was under-recruited, but he goes into the portal and comes back to Alabama basketball. And then Alabama signs the best basketball class in the history of the school on paper, number 3 in the country. So it's just unprecedented right now. Andy Kennedy doing a great job at UAB. He's the winningest coach in Ole Miss history. That's not an easy place to coach, and what he did. And then he's bringing in his mentor, Hall of Famer Bobby Huggins, in West Virginia on Saturday to UAB. That's an outstanding matchup. So it's just great right now to be a basketball fan in the state of Alabama. Scott Cross, what he's doing at Troy, and what Tony Pujols doing at UNA. And UNA getting a chance to travel to Auburn and measure their program. So it's just a great time to be a fan. And then Alabama will host Jacksonville State on Saturday. So it's salad days, and I think a golden era coming in basketball for the state of Alabama.
Would be remiss if we didn't mention UAH gets a win last night.
Huge one, Scott.
62-59.
Now, I will say this.
West Georgia.
Listening to Steve at the end of the game, he acted like it was almost like a root canal, but they held on to win.
Well, Chaney Johnson fouled out again. Love the kid to death. Great
Gotta stop fouling.
He's got to stop fouling. He's fouled out in back-to-back games.
Yeah.
So, come on, Chaney. Come on. You can't keep doing that, brother. You're killing us. All right. Let's go out to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Wolverine Dan with us.
What's up, Dan?
Well, what's unprecedented is your show, Tom Abraham and The Drive. I don't think it's ever been this good in this town. You guys are on top of the mountain right now as far as I'm concerned.
Well, thank you, Dan. We appreciate that.
And you know what? You're also very gracious. You guys are. So is Tom, and so is Wes Show and Steve. That's what changed. That's what makes the difference between you and those other talk show sports shows. That it's all about crash and burn and disrespect people, but not this show and the other two shows after yours. You know, I'm very fortunate to listen to a lot of sports, and now that I'm retired, I take the opportunity to listen to your guys' show and Tom's and West, and I think we're all very fortunate in this town to have you guys as our sports people.
Well, we appreciate that. Kind words.
Thank you, Dan. We really do appreciate it.
Well, there's going to be a lot more to talk about. All these bowl games, and I love the situation I'm in, but you know what? It's not easy. It's going to be very difficult, almost impossible. But you know what? You got to play the perfect game when you play teams.
Hey,
like
you're in the
Georgia,
dance,
Alabama.
Dan. You got to take your shot.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? And Judy, I've always said that. I always want to play the best because you can't be the best unless you play the best and beat the best, right?
Right.
So there's your answer. So, I mean, it might be a loss, but you know what? Being in this position right now, playing and if we get lucky enough to win the game, then we move on to another tougher opponent. But you know something? I'm just thrilled to be part of this experience. Well, I haven't seen this in a long time. Just being here, Judy, is unbelievable. But, again, before I hang up, I want to let you know your show and Tom and West and Lord Moulton. You guys do a really great job. And, of course, you got Chad doing the call screening and everything. He does a really good job. So thank you very much. I enjoy your show. And just don't ever leave because it'd be awful for a guy like me listening to you guys.
Appreciate it,
Thanks,
Dan,
Wolverine
man.
Dan.
Thank you. Great testimony.
That's going to do it for our 2 hours of fun. We did have fun today.
We did. Justin Hoganson, great job.
fun.
Auburn Live on 3.
Mac
Check
Jones
him
still
out.
has not won the Heisman.
He still has not.
As much as I want to give it to him the last 2 days, he has not won the Heisman.
And I don't think Glenn DeTulio has a brother John, but I did screw that up. Okay.
There's a better chance that there's a John DeTulio than there is Mac Jones, a Heisman Trophy
John
winner.
DeTulio sounds like a 007 agent, but that's just me. And we appreciate all of our callers. We really do. And we appreciate all of our guests, including John Garcia Jr. as well. Everybody, have a great rest of your Tuesday.
All right, we'll see you guys back here tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock.
Congrats, Coach Shulman.